Hola amigos, today's live stream will start with the subject hurricane season in the Dominican Republic, more specifically Punta Cana. I'm Ari.
I'm John. We're also talking about the weather.
Yeah, if you want to leave us any questions on the super chat, they would be greatly appreciated. Also, leave your questions on the regular chat. We'll try to answer them, the most of them. We'll be here for 1 hour sharing with you guys about, at first, the hurricane season in Dominican Republic. We'll answer your questions as they come along, and you can ask about other subjects as well. So don't feel limited about the subject at hand, okay?
Great. So let's start with a couple of questions that we already have from subscribers and people who watch our channel.
Can we see how many people are online now? We're trying a different software for today's live stream. So we'll try to.
Let me see. I'm checking.
Just 1 second. I think I'm going to start talking about the hurricane season while you look for that. And give you a rundown about what exactly the hurricane season is and what you can expect, especially this year, 2024, which we have some organizations and universities prognosticating in a very active hurricane season. I see Lynn Fadi Ryan is online. Hi.
Hi.
So I just wanted to check if there was someone online so we can start talking.
Big Burrito says.
Excellent.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for joining right from the start. So we'll start by commenting on, let me share the screen here. Okay, let's start with this one. This graph shows the year from May to December, and it shows you where the peak of the hurricane season is. As you can see, September and October are the most active months, September being the middle and the peak of the hurricane season. Officially, the season starts on June 1st and runs until November 30th. And we can have storms before that date or after that date, but they are very rare. Most storms in the months of July and August, and they peak in September. And they come back down and end the hurricane season. So if you're planning your vacation based just on that, keep in mind that September is the peak of hurricane season, and it starts on June and it ramps up until September's peak and comes back down until November's official deadline. Again, we can have storms before and after those dates, but they are rare.
Yeah, they're less likely. Also, if you're coming during hurricane season, especially in the peak season, it's good to get a travel insurance just in case you're not able to come here, or if some insurances will cover part of your vacation if during the time you're in the country it was raining all most of the days.
Yeah.
So it's great to have a travel insurance, and that way you can cover some of your expenses in case that a hurricane hits the country or something like that.
Yeah, those are very specific policies that you would have to pay extra for.
Yeah.
But I believe if you're coming during the summer months, I would purchase it if I were you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're traveling in the summer during hurricane season, just pay. I think it would be like a couple extra bucks for those policies, and they're totally worth it. You have to read the fine print as well with each policy, but overall, I think you should get one.
Yeah.
So specifically talking about 2024, all organizations that monitor the weather and the hurricane season in the Atlantic Ocean are saying that this year is going to be above average and very active. Those are their words. And on this graphic here, you can see the Atlantic Ocean. Here is the Dominican Republic, Punta Cana being on the easternmost edge of the country. And these orange colors indicate warmer than average waters in the Atlantic Ocean. And storms and hurricanes feed off of warm water. So if it's warmer than usual, it usually means a very active year or an above average year. And 2024 meets that criteria. That is only one of the criteria they analyze for to make their I'm blanking on the word. It's not prognosticate. That's a very uh,
Forecast.
yeah, forecast.
Forecast.
Thank you. If they are forecasting a very active season this year, that is just one of the reasons is warmer than usual waters in the Atlantic
Yeah,
Ocean.
we just got a. I mean, it didn't hit the Dominican Republic, but
Wait,
we should.
I have it. I have the
Okay, yeah. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I'm taking you step by step. This is the prediction by NOAA, which is the North Atlantic Ocean and Atmospheric Association, based in the U.S. That's our kitty climbing. And you can see that they give it an 85% chance of a more active than normal or above normal hurricane season. That means that you get more named storms in a year above normal, more hurricanes, named hurricanes, and major hurricanes, which are above category 3 and above. You get more of those based on the numbers of hurricanes and named storms you get. And 2024 is being forecast as being one of those above normal. And even I've heard the words hyperactive hurricane seasons. So keep that in mind. We're not trying to scare you, but
Before you change your the tab, someone just commented, "You two will be great weather reporters."
I have to admit I am like a weather aficionado. I'm not a meteorologist by any means. So if you're planning a vacation, do not use this information as your basis. This is just some broad strokes of information. So
Yeah.
please keep official forecasts in mind to make your decisions. But yeah, I really like to follow the hurricane season, and I'm actually glad we're doing this video because I can nerd out a little bit. So moving on, these are the names of the 2024 Atlantic hurricanes or storms, tropical storms, beginning with Alberto and ending with William. So far, we've had Alberto, Beryl, and Chris, and we are only on July 7th. We're recording
Yeah,
this
we're
video.
just starting
So
the
the
hurricane
season
season.
started in June 1st, and in July, which as we saw in the beginning, we would be at this point here. So you can see we've already had 3 named storms, and we have all the way to go to the peak and down again. So far, it's living up to the forecast of a active hurricane season. And this year, Beryl, which scraped Santo Domingo, it didn't do anything in Punta Cana, and it left rain here in Santo Domingo. It didn't do damage either, but it was a record-breaking hurricane.
Well, the north side of the country was really affected by it. There
Yeah,
were
but
some.
because of the rain bands,
Yeah.
not directly affected because
Mhm.
it went to Jamaica and then Mexico, and it's right now heading to Texas, I believe. So keep an eye out for that if you're in Texas. But Beryl, Hurricane Beryl, was the earliest Category 5 Atlantic hurricane on record since they began taking records in 1880 something.
Mhm.
So that gives you an idea of how warm the waters are in the Atlantic and how much fuel for those hurricanes are in those warm waters. So we already are on Chris. Chris is gone by now, and Beryl was record breaking, meaning category 5, which is the highest category, and a category 5 leaves catastrophic damage whenever it touches land anywhere. And we already had one of those. Usually those only appear like 2 or 3 times each year, and they are in August and September. So having a category 5 in June, which when it was when it was a category 5, it was record breaking. So that gives you an idea of how powerful or how active the hurricane season is going to be, just as a fact. Without complicating things too much, I just wanted to show you this graphic here because you can have an active hurricane season, but the track those hurricanes take them away from the DR. But this year, the conditions are in place. You can see this graphic here symbolizing a high pressure above the Atlantic Ocean, which will steer this year. It's not small and it's not weak. It's both strong and large. So the larger it is, the more west the hurricanes track, bringing them across the Caribbean, not necessarily like hitting the Dominican Republic. They can go above or below, but they are not recurving out to sea, and they are tracking along the Caribbean, hitting countries like Puerto Rico, the Antilles, Cuba, Jamaica, and Punta Cana being in the Dominican Republic, it could be affected as well.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. And this year, the track is at strong high pressure that steers the hurricanes and storms more towards the west across the Caribbean. And you can add those things together: hyperactive hurricane season, a more westerly track for the storms. Then you have to keep a close eye on storms and hurricanes that form in the Atlantic Ocean, because they are more likely than not to affect the Caribbean than previous years. Finally,
Before we go to the weather,
sure.
let's answer some of the questions that we have regarding the hurricane.
Yeah, this was my exposition of
Yeah.
the hurricane season in 2024. If you have any questions, leave
Yeah,
them in
go
the
ahead.
chat. But basically, we are expecting more hurricanes than usual this year, a hyperactive hurricane season, and a more westerly track that brings them closer to the Dominican Republic and increases the chances of a storm or hurricane hitting the DR and Punta Cana. And that's it. We're going to answer some questions now regarding weather and broader questions regarding whatever you want to ask, right? And we'll talk a little bit more about the weather, not about the hurricane season, just to give you an idea on how the weather is in Punta Cana. And if you have any questions, again, leave them in the chat. Super chats are very welcome.
Yeah. So the first question comes from Kelsey Rosales, and she asked, or he, I'm not sure if it's a woman or a man. We noticed really low prices in early October. I read that's potentially hurricane season and could be very wet. I was just wondering from a local's perspective if it's still a good time to visit.
Okay, we
That
can
is
go back
October.
to the first chart. October 1st is right here. October, November, the hurricane season begins to wind down, but we still see a fair number of storms and hurricanes form in October. So, but it's not peak hurricane season.
Yeah, I remember we lived in Punta Cana when we moved for about 4 months. We were living in Punta Cana during October, and we didn't have any hurricanes. I mean, it wasn't as active as it is this year, but we didn't have any hurricanes. I remember some days rain for a couple of minutes or hours at night, sometimes real strong rains.
Many nights.
But yeah, but during the day there wasn't much, and we didn't have any issues. We actually love October in Punta Cana because the prices are way lower than usual, because it's low season. It's not very crowded, and there's no seaweed, no sargassum. So for us it's great. October and November are great months to visit Punta Cana.
Something to keep in mind is that a hyperactive season doesn't mean a hurricane will hit the Dominican Republic. It just increases the chances by a lot. But even one hurricane that hits the DR and Punta Cana while you're here ruins your vacation, basically, right? So it doesn't need to be an active hurricane season, just a season, a regular season that produces one hurricane that hits the Dominican Republic. And that's it. It ruins your vacation for at least the day prior, during, and after the storm hits, the cleaning up, and etc.
Yeah.
The last time the DR got a direct hit was in 1998. That was my first hurricane here in Santo Domingo, Category 3. We've had scrapes by Irma and Maria that affected Puerto Rico quite a lot, and in Punta Cana especially, because it's in the easternmost tip of the country, closer to Puerto Rico. So again, it doesn't take like, okay, we're going to get 10 hurricanes this year. I mean, it just takes one to bring catastrophic damage to a place. And so just plan accordingly.
Yeah,
That's
and
all.
get your insurance policy
Exactly.
to cover.
If your trip is coming up, keep an eye out on the tropics, on the Weather Channel, the tropical updates about storms and hurricanes, and see if there's one in the Atlantic Ocean and what's its track is forecasted to be, and plan accordingly.
Yeah, Nix says, hello guys, all the best from England. Hello, Nix, all the best from the Dominican Republic. And John Mac Business says, very good, thank you. My partner is going in I don't know what that means. RY.
I don't know. I don't know
I
either.
don't know which month that it's that one, but let's continue with the questions. So some of the questions we get from in the videos related to weather and hurricane is always like a month by month basis. Like, I'm
Yeah,
going in May. How is the weather in May? I'm going
exactly.
in June,
And it's
and
pretty hard answering. Like, I'm going in October. How will the weather be like in October? We can give a general answer, but it's impossible to, like, oh, I'm going from the 18th to the 25th. Will it rain? We can't tell. Just basically keep an eye on the forecast. Let me share this screen real quick because I think it applies here.
yeah, for us, before you you begin with that, I remember when we're talking with people outside that don't live in the Dominican Republic, and they ask us about the weather, we always said, it's hot. We have two seasons, hot and
Very hot.
hell. I mean, during the summer, starting May. Well, go ahead. You
Yeah,
know what he's
just if
talking
you
about.
have that question in mind, like, will it rain when I'm there? Basically, here are all the months of the year, and you can see September is the highest rain total month of the year, and February is the lowest. It doesn't mean it won't, like here. February 4 days out of the month, and September 5 days out of the month. But I think that would be like some other months have more days out of the month that rains, like October, November, and December, but it rains less quantity. Less water
Yeah,
falls.
May is really active, for example.
Yeah, here it's not that much, but it's. I think that was before, like when my parents were little.
But
May was like,
this May was
yeah, because it
insane.
was famous for rainfall before,
Yeah,
and during my lifetime, it wasn't as much. But now it's like picking up again. Like it's fame of
yeah.
May being the.
We visited three resorts in May. Was it three?
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
it rained in each resort. We got rain. In one, it was like our whole stay was raining. And I mean, since we go so often to resorts, it wasn't a huge bummer for us. We were experiencing another type of vacation. But when you're coming from England, from Europe, and you come here and it rains every day, it's very frustrating.
We do have to say that it's very rare to have like consecutive days of rain, like rainy the whole day. It has to be like a tropical depression or a tropical storm affecting the country for it to be like all day rain for 3 consecutive days. Those days that John mentioned, they happened to be the country was being affected by tropical waves. Tropical waves basically is moisture and rain. It's nothing of windy or anything like that. Doesn't cause any damage, but they were affecting the country again because the waters are so warm in the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic that. Let me show you just how warm, because I do have a graphic here. Just 1 second. Here, this is the average of the years from 1982 to 2023 contained on the gray here. And just so you know how much above average things are, this is 2024 in red. This is the median range of between 82 and 2023. And 2023 was actually record breaking in temperature, ocean temperature waters. And 2024 is even above 2023. So that's why there's so much fuel, and hurricanes like Beryl can intensify so fast in so little time, because it's a matter of days between a small tropical storm and a category 5 hurricanes, which is scary because you have less time to prepare,
Yeah.
but that's what we're dealing with this year.
Yeah, I remember with this one, Beryl, we were a little bit scared. We were uneasy here in the country because if something changed
Yeah,
like
if the track changed a
overnight,
bit,
we were going to be hit by
yeah,
it.
by a major hurricane,
It
which
was a
is,
huge, yeah. Can you imagine that? It's a whole
well, a
tourism
category
industry.
3 in 1998 devastated Santo Domingo. I remember
Oh
everything.
my God.
We had no power here at my house for like 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks, no power, no ice, no refrigeration, no nothing. I believe it would be different now, but if a major storm hits, it's the way it's going to be because it brings down all the power poles and cables.
Yeah.
It's really something.
Well, John Mac Business completed the last comment. He says, "Great information, very helpful. My partner is going on the 17th July from the UK. Sorry about my typo. My thumbs are too big for my phone." Very good, thank you.
I don't know what it is. It happens to me a lot
Well,
on the
yeah,
iPhone.
I
It
same.
didn't used to be that way, I
Yeah,
think.
same. And I don't have my thumbs are really skinny, and it happens to me all the time. My thumbs. Yeah, I just sit my finger. Okay, so Big Burrito says, "I'll be heading to Capcana next week. Any concerns from the locals yet?"
No, there's nothing on the radar so far for next week. I keep an eye out on the tropics, and we just had Beryl and another tropical wave behind it that brought a lot of rain to Santo Domingo and Punta Cana. But so far, there's nothing on the NHC website. You can check on NHC dot, well, what is it? Yeah, NOAA dot NHC dot gov. That's the National Hurricane Center page, and you can see the forecast for the next 2 days and 7 days if they expect anything to develop. That's the one I use. I go in daily and just check. It can show nothing for the next 10 days, and tomorrow they mark something because it's that fast.
Yeah, this is a comment. It's not a question per se, but I think it can add to the conversation regarding hurricane and the weather. This person says, "I'm coming to the DR in mid-September at the peak of hurricane season. I'm renting an Airbnb. I do believe that it is cheap time to come, and most of it will be less crowded. I have traveled to Mexico and experienced category 3 hurricanes. Although they are scary and can cause disruption, it is only a matter of 5 days until things are back to normal. Because I will be in Punta Cana for a month, I am sure to experience many beautiful days." Yeah, this person has experienced for hurricanes. I just wanted to bring this comment to the conversation because even though we have what do you call these structures are made of here? Concrete.
Yeah, concrete.
Concrete. Yeah, you won't see houses, being destroyed, but you need to be careful if you're
Yeah,
in the DR and a hurricane
I
comes.
wouldn't take a single person's comment on how strong a Category 3 is because they may have experienced the Category 3, but not the brunt of that storm, like the eye wall and the destruction it brings with it. Even though the hotel will still stand, it's not like it will blow it out of the ground because it's made out of concrete. The windows are hurricane proof and so on, but all the amenities and the day after, all the staff
Yeah,
that is not waiting for food will be working on restoration, and so service will be totally disrupted.
yeah,
You
that's true.
can't expect back to
and
normal the day after.
and a note to that is, if you the last hurricane that we got here was it Maria or Irma?
In Punta Cana, the most
The most recent.
either
Well,
Irma or
the
Maria.
last one, it destroyed the Hyatt resorts because they didn't use concrete in their
Yeah,
construction. They're using like is a drywall. I don't know
yeah,
which
someone told us. We
material.
didn't see it ourselves, but they told us that because they had many structures mainly made out of or covered with drywall. At least I don't think
Hmm.
the structure itself was drywall. It was concrete most likely, but they had to evacuate all their guests to other resorts.
Yeah,
And if you're paying for the Hyatt, like the
yeah. They, they
Silara and
they
the
moved
Capcana,
them to the Dreams Punta Cana, which was a horrible
yeah,
resort.
back then that resort was like going from a 10 out of 10 to a 1 out of 10.
Yeah,
So I don't know if they got refunds, but even if you get refunds, it's a horrible
of
experience.
course, of course. So let's move to the weather now because I have many questions
Oh
regarding
no, you
specific
can go
months.
on with the
Well, for
questions because the
example,
weather is. I just
I
wanted to
have
show the average rainfall for each month.
I have a person asking, they're coming in September, 1 week from the 14th to the 21st. How is the weather? in September.
Well, again, that's the kind of questions that we used to answer them all on the weather video, but we don't answer them anymore because it's just, I mean, if you watch the video, it's not a very well made video because it was when we first started. We have to update it, but it basically shows you like you can expect this during this month, but specific dates it's impossible.
Yeah. Well, this question is important. This person asked, when it rains, how many times a day it rains? Is it like the whole day or like a few times? Can it rain for several days in a row? This is, I think those questions are very important
Yeah,
regarding.
like I said before, if there's a tropical system ranging from a tropical wave, which means rain, to a hurricane, which means rain, wind, destruction, if that is not affecting the country, it's very rare. I mean, it's the possibility is non-existent, like
It's not very
to
common.
rain the whole day for 3 days in a row, unless something is affecting the country,
Mhm.
which can happen in the
Yeah.
summer months, more likely.
But Punta Cana, it's a crazy weather.
Exactly. That's
It,
the next point.
yeah, go ahead. Punta Cana
Well,
is
if you
crazy
wanna, when
because
we lived, what?
we can be in the pool. There's the sun is out, it's very hot, and you're enjoying your time, and it starts pouring rain, crazy. Everybody has to go inside the
Yeah,
hotel.
it's dark, like it the sun sets basically. It's rain, pouring rain, a lot of wind, and 3 minutes later
Yeah,
the sun is out again,
exactly.
and you can go out and enjoy the pool. It's We don't have that in Santo Domingo. We noticed that specifically in Punta Cana. I was doing an excursion one time in Cap Cana doing the buggy tours, and it was like being in the middle of a storm all of a sudden. A lot of rain and a lot of wind. 5 minutes later, the sun was out.
Yeah, and it's something even crazier. You're here in this part and it's raining like crazy, and then you move like 800 meters and it's not raining over there. It's insane. Punta Cana, the weather in Punta Cana is very unpredictable,
Yeah, but
but
it's
most of the
unpredictable.
time it's
Exactly,
sunny.
it's unpredictable in that sense. Like
Exactly.
it can rain from a moment's notice, and then it's sun. At night, it tends to rain more often than not, but again, it's short-lived. It downpours for like 10 minutes, and then it's dry again. So plan accordingly. If you want to pack an umbrella, I packed an umbrella for our last resort, thinking about the rain because sometimes you have dinner reservations, it starts to rain, and if it rains for 15 minutes, then they will try to accommodate you, but it creates problems for the
Yeah.
next person with the reservation. So if you can go under an umbrella, some hotels do offer umbrellas in the room.
Yeah, like the Lopesan.
Yeah, but it's not most. So if you can pack an umbrella and you can go ahead and even if it's raining, go to your dinner reservation on time. That would be a great
Yeah,
addition.
it will be great if you guys after this live stream check our video about what to pack. We're going to update it soon, but most of the things that we will pack are for Punta Cana are in that video. It's a very complete guide.
Yeah, we're
And
gonna do a
we're
newer
very,
version this
yeah.
year, but as John says, it's current still.
Yeah. So another question that we have is from Dobby Good Guy. How bad is the humidity year round? No good news in this case.
It's the Caribbean. Expect
God.
frizzy hair and
It's
hot and humid. Okay, that's it. That's
yeah,
the short
it's
version.
Punta Cana is very humid and you feel, I mean, when it's hot, you feel it's hotter because of it. And I'm from Venezuela. I used to have long hair, and I remember when I moved here, my hair was straight, and like 5 days later, my hair was like this.
Believe it or not, I used to
Like,
have straight hair like an Asian person. No, I'm kidding.
no, well,
This is my hair.
you remember the episode where Monica and they go to Jamaica, I
Yeah,
believe.
from Friends.
Yeah, and Monica, like the next hour, she's like this. She has an afro. Something like that happened to me. Right now, I have it like this because we are inside a room with air conditioning.
And actually, I'm gonna
Yeah, it's
bring it
hot.
down. It's really hot.
It's hot. Well, we have another question. Well, this is in Spanish. Let's see. The hurricane season.
Okay,
Oh my
let me
god.
try. Hurricane season in the Atlantic Basin. When will it start in the Atlantic? And when a hurricane will form in the Atlantic? And well, basically, we answered that at the beginning of the stream, but we are already on the hurricane season. It starts on June 1st, ends in November 30th. We've already had three named storms: Alberto, Beryl, and Chris. And this year will be a hyperactive hurricane season.
Exactly. Yeah, to summarize, that's great. So yeah, humidity horrible. The Dominican Republic is very humid as most of the Caribbean islands, so yeah. It's but you're not going to not notice, but you're not going to mind about the humidity because you're going to be on vacation.
Yeah, and you're on your bathing suit, and if it's hot, you
Yeah.
just go in the pool of the ocean. I mean, when I'm
Well,
in Santo Domingo and I have to walk on regular clothes, if I'm going somewhere, then I'm like cursing, oh, I have to walk in
yeah.
this weather, this humidity, this heat. But if I'm in Punta Cana with my bathing suit, it's hot. I can be pouring sweat, but I know I can just go in the pool or the ocean, and that's it. Even though during the summer months, like starting now until end of October, the pool water will
It's really
not refresh you. I
no.
mean, it's basically a hot tub,
Yeah.
basically a hot tub.
So let's see. How is the weather? Well, is it hot in January? Is it worth going in coming to Punta Cana in January? I think the weather it's very nice. Actually, for us, it's nicer than the other months because it's less hot. It's not cold, but it's less hot. It doesn't. It's humid, but you don't feel that humid. You don't feel it
Yeah,
as humid as you normally feel it because it's not very hot.
yeah, we don't get winter here in the
Yeah.
DR. The stations are pretty much the same, but we do feel like the heat lets down a bit during the winter months, and it's breezier, cooler, and under the sun you'll still be hot, right? You'll
Hmm.
still want to go into the pool and the ocean, but both those things will be cooler.
Yeah. Now, in regards to is it worth going? January is very expensive in Punta Cana, like crazy expensive. 600 a night in an all inclusive for a very cheap for a resort that is not worth that price. But this is because from this mid December until April, Punta Cana is high season and it's very expensive. January being one of the most expensive months in Punta Cana, so I wouldn't come to Punta Cana in January, but that's me because I don't like the cold pools because the pools are cold for
Well,
us.
but let me like a parenthesis. I've talked to people from the northern hemisphere, like US, Canada, Europeans, that prefer the cooler pool
Wow,
water and the ocean water. We don't.
which
We don't even go in the
definitely.
pool. And it's not like cold, freezing cold. It's just colder. And we don't go in the pool that much. But if you're used to colder weather and colder waters, then that, because we love the pools during the summer, but I know Canadians say, "Oh no, it's too hot.
Yeah,
The
it's
water
like a
is too
hot
hot."
tub.
Exactly. So in that regard, and if the price is not an issue, I don't see why not
Yeah,
come in
if
January.
the
But
price
it's
is not an issue
like
exactly,
three, four,
but
five
it
times more
gets
expensive.
crowded too. January it gets crowded.
Yeah, because people from the northern hemisphere,
Hmm.
northern countries, are escaping the winter months on in their home country and are coming down to the DR to enjoy a much milder winter. Jay also asked, I think it's being translated for some reason because it's not making much sense in Spanish. Unless you're practicing, then it's very good. Okay, don't get us wrong. He's asking or she's asking if what is the next name in the list? On the list, it will be
De-
Debbie.
Debbie.
Debbie, Ernesto, Francine, and Gordon are the next named storms to come in the Atlantic.
Yeah. How well this is a question regarding the weather as well. How does it compare to places in Mexico? Well, we haven't traveled to Mexico yet, but I was doing some research and the weather is pretty similar. I mean, Cancun, the weather is pretty similar to Punta Cana. Punta Cana can be a little bit hotter, so but it's pretty much the same. So yeah, both they're both in the
Yeah,
Caribbean.
we haven't been, but
Yeah, as per our research. Yeah, and let's see. This person asked. This is not related to the weather, but it's a good question. Is it possible to rent away from the crowded and noisy tourist and cruise ship areas in Punta
well, we don't
Cana?
get cruise ships docking in Punta Cana, so that's not an issue. If you want to book away from the more touristy areas like hotels, well, all the hotels are in touristy areas on the first line of the beach. Airbnbs you can book more secluded, but then you'll be far away from the
Yeah.
beaches. You have to rent a car. And there are some areas like Uvero Alto and Capcana, which are more secluded and more private. But there are a lot of hotels in those areas, so it's not like you will be alone. There will be fewer people, and not even that, because there are some big hotels in Uvero Alto, big hotels in Capcana now with the Margaritaville, with the Hyatts.
Well, Uvero Alto, last time we visited, it was full of people and it was full of vendors. I know some people, some visitors used to like Uvero Alto and Capcana because of how secluded and how alone and I mean how do you say like exclusive? Is it exclusive?
Not well, exclusive because of its location.
Exactly. And now, right now, Uvero Alto, it's as full as Bávaro and Punta Cana. But Cap Cana can be less crowded year round because there are fewer resorts. And
Well, if you stay in one of the more boutique ones
oh yeah,
and the
definitely.
smaller ones in Capcana, prices go way up. But you can feel like more exclusive feeling, less people around.
Or if you're staying at the TRS Cap Cana with their great beach.
Don't knock them down.
Okay, so these are other questions not related to weather per se, but we haven't answered them yet. So let me see. What are our favorite resorts in Punta Cana? And we actually got those questions in the last video we published regarding our top 10 all inclusive adults only resorts in Punta Cana. What were our favorite resorts and
I would
what?
advise you first to go ahead and check out those videos. Our top 10 all-inclusive resorts in Punta Cana. We made a newer version this year, and our top 10 adults only in Punta Cana. Our rankings, right? Out of all the hotels we visited, these are the 10 best out of those two categories. So I would advise you to go ahead and watch those videos because we go into a lot of details about why we chose those hotels. So go ahead and watch those. Right now, on tied for first in our rankings are the Hard Rock Punta Cana and the Lopesan Costa Bávaro. And
Second place is
yeah,
Hyatt Zilara Cap Cana.
closely following the first two, it's a great hotel. And
Then we
recently we went to,
Rio Palace Macau.
which really surprised us. It was
Oh my
newly
god,
renovated
yeah.
in 2023, and the price to what the price quality ratio is way up because it's not that expensive, and it's a really good resort right now.
And in fifth place, that will be Dreams Flora Punta Cana, which was a beautiful resort. I mean,
Yeah, we
what
visited
a
also
surprise!
recently.
It was amazing. I thought we were going to like the Dreams Macau Punta Cana better, but I was so wrong.
Yeah, the Dreams Flora,
It
it
was
feels like a
magical.
boutique hotel. It's not boutique, it's a big hotel, but it has some beautiful pools, beautiful vegetation. The name does a great job like of describing the feeling of the hotel, Flora. uh, we would really recommend that hotel.
Yeah, we'll definitely go back. I want to go back, but we have to visit Lopesan too soon.
Yeah, it's due for another visit.
Yeah. So this person asked, "What's the best time to visit Punta Cana?"
We actually want to make a video with that question in mind because you have to take a lot of factors into consideration, like to pick the best time to come, because Weather-wise, we think the winter months are better because of the pool temperatures and the chances of rain and the temperature in Punta Cana. But the prices go way higher in the winter months. So if you're thinking of price first, then the winter is not your best
Yeah, that
time to
will
come.
be in September, October, and November, which
Exactly.
is the peak of hurricane season.
So as you can see, there are some considerations to take regarding the best time to come to Punta Cana because it will depend on what you value the most. Is it
Yeah,
price? Is it crowded or not? Is it the weather?
yeah.
And
For
I
example,
think we
summer.
can come up with like a small window of when is the best time to come to Punta Cana. But we have to think it out. We have to
Yeah,
think out that video.
for me, that will be October. For me, that's for me because I like the temperature of the pools and the sea during October. There's no seaweed. It's
There's less
cheaper.
seaweed.
Yeah, but there's usually no seaweed when we go. I remember not seeing seaweed during October,
I think November is a safer bet regarding seaweed.
but it gets colder. It
No,
starts
no, I mean
gets
regarding seaweed. You see,
yeah,
it depends because seaweed it's also another factor
yeah.
because you don't want to come if you are coming for the beaches, then seaweed season is the biggest factor for you, you know?
Yeah, this person, Rick, asked, "Is there an LGBTQ community in Punta Cana?"
I
Well,
don't know if there's
there,
like a community, but I'm sure there are groups on Facebook
yeah,
about
probably.
LGBTQ community in Punta Cana. If you live there, for sure, I'm thinking you can find a community here. If you're coming to visit, I don't see like if you
That
can connect.
there are no issues with
No issues, no.
LGBTQ. I mean, if you come to stay at a in an all inclusive and you're part of the community, it's you won't have any issues. You can have your queens one bed for your partner and yourself,
Yeah, there are
and
no
no
no discrimination in
discrimination.
that sense.
Yeah, in that sense.
Thankfully.
And in regards to the community, as you said, there are probably groups in Facebook, but we haven't seen any. I mean, we don't have any information regarding that.
Jay says that a tropical wave has exited Africa and it could be the next tropical wave to observe. Yeah, tropical waves and during this season, tropical waves exit Africa weekly. And those tropical waves go into the warm ocean waters in the Atlantic, and that's when we get the tropical storms and hurricanes out of those seeds of tropical waves coming off Africa. So basically, the whole year will be tropical wave coming out of Africa. Some develop and most don't, but the ones that do are the ones that become tropical storms and hurricanes during the hurricane season.
Yeah. Well, this is since we were talking about seaweed, and this is such an important subject when it comes to Punta Cana. I have a question, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to answer.
Okay.
Which hotels do a better job keeping seaweed off their beach stretch?
Yeah, it's difficult because it's such a specific thing, and it
Yeah,
can vary from hotel to hotel, and even a hotel can vary their system of collecting the seaweed. We would have to like really think about it and go back in memory, like
well,
remembering how well
I
does.
know Lopesan does a great job with
Yeah,
that.
because some do have tractors to pick up the seaweed. Hi, Kitty.
I know,
Others
and
don't. Others are all manual labors and they stuff it in black
I
trash
know
bags.
I can name like the worst three or four because I remember how bad they were.
Yeah, but even that I would hesitate to do because it was on
Really,
on a specific day. Like if we were there for 1 or 2 nights, then it's that specific time. We can say our experience, but not definitely say, oh,
but
that hotel does a terrible job.
or at least we can name three that do it like great. For example, Lopensan does a great
Just a
job.
thing, it's the same thing, just the opposite. Like they did a great job during our stay there.
Well, but
So
that's the only. I
yeah,
mean, that's the only
true,
opinion we can give.
true.
If you stay for 2 nights in a hotel and the food was not good, the food for you, based on your experience, is not
That's
good.
true, but I wouldn't make a definitive
Yeah,
like.
but I know Lopesan does a great job with seaweed. Hard Rock too. Which other? Oh, Rio Palace, Macau. You remember
Yeah, Rio
there was
does
some
a
seaweed,
good. The
and
thing is also, if we visit a hotel in June, the amount of seaweed they have to pick up is a lot less in June than in September, which is tons and tons, literal tons of seaweed that they have to pick up. So it's not an apples to apples comparison in some regard.
yeah,
That's why it's difficult to answer.
but for example, we stay at Ocean Alfaro during May, and you
Mhm.
remember how
Yeah,
bad it was. I
that
mean,
that we can say was bad
it
because
was
May
extremely
it's
bad,
just starting to come.
and they were not. They had just one employee
Exactly.
picking up the
I
seaweed,
agree there.
and it was a mess. And
Totally agree.
you remember Grand Palladium, we stayed there. I think it was in August or July. I don't remember which of the two, which month exactly, but it was during seaweed season, and they even had tractors. But the amount of seaweed that was coming to the shores was incredible, and they were not able to pick it up at the same pace that it was coming to the beach. So Grand Palladium, I can give them another chance to see how good they do it.
A
I
quick
think,
note would be also to keep in mind that all the Caribbean islands and Mexico, even Florida, are being affected
oh
by this
yeah,
orgasm seaweed problem. So it's not like, oh, Punta Cana gets a lot of seaweed, so I'm going to go to
exactly.
Cuba or Jamaica. No, it's all the Caribbean islands. So
But I do see, for example, here in Punta Cana, based on our experience, we have seen that the hotels that are more, is Ubero Alto to the east or to
to the
the
west,
more to the west?
more to the northern side of the.
Exactly. There is way less seaweed than
Yeah,
the
because if
ones
you draw
on the other side.
the DR, the eastern part of DR on a map, well, let me see if I can
Oh
show
yeah,
you.
let's get them up.
Well, it will take too long, but basically, the seaweed comes from the east to the west, and the country is shaped like this on the eastern part. So the eastern part catches seaweed on the tip, and then some goes to the north, and basically it's based on terrain. And terrain on the northern coast of the eastern part of the Dominican Republic catches more seaweed. I don't know if it's current or the terrain shape per se or what, but it does tend to get more seaweed in Ubero Alto than in
Less seaweed in
Miches.
Overo
Yeah,
Alto. Oh yeah, more seaweed. But for example, if you go to Punta Cana during seaweed season, you're more likely to encounter seaweed in the Cap Cana area
a lot, yes.
than in the Overo Alto area.
But basically,
Ex-
expect seaweed wherever wherever
yeah.
you go. I think the best beach regarding seaweed would be Macau Beach,
Oh
and there's
yeah,
only one hotel in Macau Beach, which
which
is
is
the
the
Dreams
Dreams
Macau
Macau.
Beach. So, and we've gone to Macau Beach, and there's seaweed sometimes, but whenever it's bad on Cap Cana, for instance, you can go to Macau and there's no seaweed because basically Macau Beach it's like that, and current takes seaweed away. So that's the only beach I would dare to say like, yeah, you have a better chance of not finding seaweed there.
Well, this is another question. This is: are there truly luxurious resorts in Punta Cana? I'll let you answer that question yourself.
Luxurious. Well, we haven't been to like luxurious hotels around the world, but we do know what a luxury hotel is. Right now, there's one hotel called W. I think it's by Hilton that it's being built in Miches, and they advertise that project as the first true luxury hotel in the Dominican Republic. So I do believe there are upscale resorts, but not luxury resorts. I mean, when I hear luxury, I think of like those luxury resorts in London, in Madrid, in Hong Kong, I mean, like in Metropolis.
Mhm.
I don't think we have that in Punta Cana or Santo Domingo or anywhere. There are upscale resorts that do a great job of building materials, decorations, food, service, etc. But I'm eager to try that W hotel. I think it's from Hilton or Marriott. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be game changing for us in terms of
Well,
judging.
let's see exactly.
In terms of judging,
If that it's the same as the others, then yeah,
yeah, but I think I agree with you. I don't think there right now are any truly luxurious resorts in Punta Cana. Um, for example, Hyatt is a very high end hotel, is expensive, but you don't get luxury for a $700 a night, all inclusive, all the drinks, all the no, that's too
yeah, a
cheap.
luxury hotel would be like 3,000 a
Yeah,
night,
you can.
And well, there are some times of the year that a Punta Cana resort can bring you down
Yeah, but
like
like
2,000 a night, but it's not a luxury resort. It's just
exactly
overpriced for those dates.
for the season. But for example, it's like comparing the Oriental Express. Well, it might not be a great comparison, but we have traveled in Amtrak trains, and I have seen videos about the Oriental Express, and
A
the whole
luxury train.
trip is truly luxurious. And the trip is like $15,000 for 2 nights, and the Amtrak is 1,000. You can see it's expensive, but it's not luxurious.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Okay, we have 9 minutes left. So please, if you have a question, any question, leave it in the
Yeah.
chat right now so we can get to it. Okay.
So while we wait, if we get any questions, I have
I'll
one
let you know.
more.
I'll keep an eye on it.
I have. Are the resorts the real Dominican experience?
You want to take them?
Yeah, no, they're not. I mean, all inclusive, you're in a bubble, you're experiencing, your experience is created by the hotel chain, and you have like a schedule, an itinerary during the
Yeah,
day.
entertainment schedule.
Yeah, they give you aerobics, and at night sometimes the Dominican show, they give you like a glimpse of what the Dominican culture is, but it's not the real Dominican experience. It's a
Yeah, I would say it's a unique experience because there are not many places in the world that have all inclusive resorts. So for sure, it's a unique experience. You do share an experience with the residents, being that the staff is mainly Dominican, and but the rest of the guests are not mainly Dominican. So you're basically sharing your experience with Canadians, Americans, and Europeans as guests. And what you, as John said, your experience is curated, and the shows, they try to give you like Dominican night. They show you the different music and different dances of Dominican culture, but it's of course like a prepackaged experience. Some hotels do a better job than others of decorating the hotel and tailoring the experience, the way the service works and the food to be more local.
yeah.
But
And
even that, it's like John said, curated.
if you
And
had to name three hotels that do a great job in terms of the decoration and making you feel in the Dominican Republic, which hotels will those
I
be?
would say, and it's subjective, right? I think the Palladium hotels do a great job of that. The Barcelona Bavaro Palace
Hmm.
does a good job at that. And Occidental, even, it's not a great hotel, but it does a good job at that.
Yeah, I think also this is some misconceptions regarding all inclusives and people that come to Punta Cana when they stay in an upscale all inclusive, they said, "Oh, this is not the Dominican Republic. It didn't feel authentic." None of them are the Dominican experience, first, and second, some people that come to the Dominican Republic are expecting like the
Yeah,
Cana,
the palm tree
yeah,
leaves
and
huts and the
e-
straw hats and
exactly. And
people dancing merengue around,
if they stayed at
like
an obs
stereotypical.
exactly, if they stay like in the Hyatt, they don't feel the Dominican, but that's actually how the Dominican Republic upscale is.
Yeah,
If you come to Santo Domingo, which is the Dominican Republic, and you rent an apartment here, it looks like that. If it's upper middle class apartment, or upper class,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
not the
Dominican.
stereotypical Dominican experience, but it's the high-end Dominican experience because
Exactly.
we do have rich people here, and that's how they vacation, right?
Exactly, yeah. And for example, the hotels that you just named are like the ones that are in the lowest in our rankings,
Yeah,
and that's because their decoration, it used to be, is the one that they use in the 90s and
exactly. Yeah,
beginning of
that's a
the
good.
2000s.
Mhm.
They're not new hotels, and they haven't been renovated, and actually their food is
And that's
bad.
why maybe we say like it feels more like a Dominican local experience because back then it was like in season. I don't know how to say it, like to decorate your hotel like that.
Yeah.
But now it's going more modern, more chic, more
Well, it's a
upscale.
little bit Mediterranean, even Mediterranean. Sometimes, like in Florida in the 70s, for example, the Rio Palace Macau, the decoration is like Florida in the 70s.
Exactly.
And
And for instance, the Lopesan, which is a hotel we like, you feel like you're in
yeah,
Spain.
it's
Like the
completely
architecture is Spanish,
Mediterranean.
exactly, and we love it. We love that architecture. It feels really upscale, But if we were to say, what's the truest local experience, then maybe it's an older hotel, more likely than not, and the experience is not that good.
And another question that I have, I think it's important. I don't remember if we answered this one yet. Will you say it's safe to travel to Punta Cana as a solo female?
I would say absolutely,
Yeah.
especially if you're in the all-inclusive package within a hotel. If you go out, and this applies to everybody, male or female, I would go out on a control excursion, not because anything bad will happen, but I think because you have a better time because it's an
Everything is taken care of.
yeah,
You
and
don't have
it's
to.
thought out, like mapped out for you to have a good time, right?
Mhm.
And you can choose what you like, either adventure or cultural or religious. Like it has a wide range of stuff to do. And if you go out of your hotel walking, you'll basically see nothing. So like a
Yeah.
supermarkets and stores, and that's it.
And
It's
even
not a walking friendly city.
even if you stay at an Airbnb in other areas of the country, Dominicans are maybe not 100%, but the most Dominicans are very protective of tourist people, the people that come here because they know they're spending their money here. It's good for the country, it's good for business. So Dominicans are very protective of tourism. So I think it's safe to come to the
Yeah, it's
Dominican
totally
Republic.
safe.
I
Totally
come from
safe.
Venezuela, and when I arrived to the Dominican Republic, I mean, it was heaven for me. It was incredibly safe. So I will say, yeah, it's safe. Of course, you have to pay attention to some things like in any other country.
Yeah, if
And
like exercise common sense. If you're walking
exactly,
down the street at night, don't walk alone by the loneliest street. Pick the path that is more alive, has more people in it. Because if someone is going to rob you, they're going to do it on the street that is all dark and alone, right?
yeah, and don't go
And
to any hoods, like hoods, is it?
I don't know,
I mean the like barrios.
like neighborhoods.
Yeah, but barrios pobres. I
Oh,
mean,
poor
like
neighborhoods.
poor neighborhood that are, not all poor neighborhoods are dangerous, but you don't know. So try to
Yeah, and
stay in the
if you
middle
have,
upper touristic part,
yeah,
or the middle or upper middle
and that's
class
true for any
area.
country. If you have an iPhone 15 Max Pro, don't have it out in the open in a poor neighborhood because
Is that a new model you just invented?
oh, what's the latest?
Yeah, it's Pro Max. Well, I think our
One
time
minute to go. Yeah.
yeah,
So
we're
basically,
about to
thank you
finish.
so much for watching this live stream. We want to do more of this. Leave your questions whenever you want something answered. We'll do our best to
Yeah,
make
and
it happen.
subscribe to the channel. That
Yeah, that would.
help us a lot.
Thank you. See you later,
Bye.
guys.